It's the news we've all been waiting for. Miro Hastenan is expected to play tonight, and the Dallas Stars could roll out 11-7. We'll discuss that and plenty more on a Stars versus Jets Game 4 preview.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. Miro Hastenan is expected to return tonight in Game 4. It's music to every Stars fans' ears. We'll talk about that and the possible lineup changes associated with Miro coming back into the lineup, including 11-7, which is on the table. We'll also touch on the 5v5 numbers so far in this series. The Stars are starting to show an edge in those numbers, and I want to relay some of those to you on today's episode of Locked On Stars. Welcome to a Tuesday edition. Game 4 tonight, Stars with an opportunity to take a 3-1 series advantage before going back to Winnipeg for Game 5. But my goodness, we have to talk about Miro Hastenan. Head coach Pete DeBoer said this morning he anticipates Miro will play in Game 4 tonight. And DeBoer did say he expected Miro to return at some point during this second round series. And his word is being kept so far for all we know. It was dependent on how morning skate went. It seems morning skate went all right. Everything is to be expected, and he is a possibility for tonight. As long as everything goes well in warmups, it looks like he will return, and it's probably the best spot for him to return at this point. Stars up 2-1 after taking Game 3. Stars really dominated Winnipeg in that third period. Winnipeg's going to come out and give you their best stuff tonight. That wasn't their best in Game 3. They're going to play like their season's on the line tonight. So it's probably a perfect spot for Miro to return, or to play devil's advocate. You could certainly think it's not a good spot because Winnipeg is going to be coming out hard, heavy, fast, and physical. But Miro has been in this position before, and the Stars can protect him a bit with the home ice and the last change. They can get him some favorable matchups. But I suspect if Miro is good enough to go, he is as healthy as possible, that the Dallas Stars are willing to throw him into the fire, so to speak. He obviously got cleared by the medical staff, and I'm going to trust the Dallas Stars medical staff that they're not rushing him back just for the sake of rushing him back. And it is possible that the Stars roll out 11 forwards and 7 defensemen, so you can ease Miro back in if need be. And Pete DeBoer was asked about this potential, and he said it's no big deal. It gives Mikko Rantanen more ice time. So that's a bit of a funny line to throw out there, but I also think it's spot on. And for the most part, Pete DeBoer isn't just rolling out 4 lines like we've seen in the past, and he's always got the knock on just rolling 4 lines and playing his 6 defensemen, and that's it. Of course, last season was a bit different because they didn't trust Nils Lundqvist and they didn't trust some others to play more than 6 minutes in the postseason. But when it comes to up front 4 lines, he would usually just roll them, and hopefully the lines were clicking. And if not, you didn't see a whole lot of changes or line shuffling, except in this postseason, we're seeing him change things throughout the game. We're seeing him move wingers, like Rantanen's played with Steele into Donov quite a bit, which has actually been a very productive line, especially Sam Steele creating some of the goals in this series and in Game 7 for Mikko Rantanen just by driving and making space for the Stars' elite playmaker and goal scorer is taking the NHL playoffs by storm, leads all scorers with 18 points. So we've seen Rantanen play with a bit of everybody. Also, Jamie Benn isn't playing that much outside of the fourth line. Jamie Benn's playing the least of any forward. 14 minutes is his average time on ice this postseason. And I may have been a bit harsh on Jamie Benn, and we're going to get to that in some of the 5v5 numbers, because some of his expected numbers actually are very, very good, although I still am going to hold him accountable for some of the just silly and unnecessary penalties. It hurts your team. I don't care what your expected goal numbers are. At the end of the day, he still has 3 points, and he's taken 10 penalty minutes over the last 4 games. It's still not good enough, although I know he can impact the game in other ways. So I'm not going to pile on Jamie tonight, just to be fair and show both sides. But 11-7 is possible. And as I mentioned, Mikko's been sort of hopping on other lines. They've been double shifting him, which I think is smart. And I think I called for that in game 2 even, or even after game 3. Why not have Mikko play with Robo and Johnston a bit? See if you can get him going. See if you can get Robo going a bit. And I think Robo is playing hurt. I know he hasn't looked like himself, and I know there are some Stars fans out there that want him to be more productive. And I'm right there with you. I believe he's playing hurt to some degree, and he's played in 3 games now. He's still getting his feet wet, and I would like to see the old Jason Robertson. I don't know if we're going to get that, because I just believe he's hurt to some degree. He's playing hurt, and he's going to need others to help him a bit. And I think Mikko can do that. And Ben can hop in on that fourth line every once in a while. If you want to throw him with Duchesne and Marchment, throw him with Duchesne and Seguin like we saw in games 1 and 2, why not? But I think you can make the trios a bit more fluid and not as set in stone, which is a bit contrary to my belief in round 1 against Colorado, where I was okay with the consistency of just trotting out some of the same lines out there, because I think it was healthy for Mikko to get some of that consistency, play with the other 2 Finns, and he could start to find his game. And eventually it came to light, and now they're looking for some more depth. And they got that in game 3. So we'll see what transpires tonight. But Miro coming back is fascinating. It is exciting. It's a bit of anxiety just to see him play for the first time in a while. And it could be the Stars' opportunity to bury Winnipeg, because we all believe the Stars are a much better team with Miro Hastenan in the lineup. So it is fascinating. If the Stars do dress 11-7, it would be the same 6 defensemen up front as we've seen already in the series. Harley, Lyubushkin, Lindell, Ceci, Bichel, Petrovic, and then you got Miro. I don't know how you take Petrovic or Bichel out of the lineup, and that's why Dallas may want to go with 11-7. By the way, this is pretty rare for Pete DeBoer. He doesn't do it very much. I think he may have done it once during the regular season, maybe twice. Not a lot of coaches like to do it. Edmonton does it a lot because they do like to play Draisaitl, McDavid as much. It really depends on your personnel. But with Miro just coming back from a pretty major surgery, they can protect him a bit more if they dress 7 defensemen. Let's say Miro doesn't feel that great, or they're not loving what they're seeing, then you can give some extra minutes to another forward, a forward here and there. Like Johnston, I think we're going to see him get more minutes if they dress 11-7. Plus, I don't know how you want to break up Bichel or Petrovic. That is also a benefit to maybe dressing 11-7, because I don't know if you want to take any defenseman out of the lineup. Like, they've been pretty good. They've been really good. And if you dress 11-7, then you could just move a guy down and maybe that's Lyubushkin a bit more. Or maybe you're platooning Petrovic and Lyubushkin as your sixth defenseman, so to speak, along with Bischel. It's a really intriguing possibility, and I'm curious to see what Alain Nazardine and the coaching staff comes up with, because I think there's a whole list of possibilities Dallas could roll out on defense, and maybe it gives extra ice time to some of the forwards that could really use it and deserve it. Like Mikko, I think Johnston is a candidate that could play even more. Rope's been playing a lot already. That's why I think you get Wyatt some more ice time too. And maybe that benefits everybody. And it's nice to have Miro Hastenan, which we know is incredible, can dictate control, can really control the game. He's a one-man breakout, makes sharp tape-to-tape passes. He does all those things. And hopefully it's a return that ends in victory. That's what we're all hoping for. But I'm going to have my expectations sort of leveled. It is a major knee surgery he's coming after. I'm just going to be grateful he's playing in Game 4 if he is officially. I think we just be happy about it and take it in for what it is. And hopefully he looks like Miro Hastenan. And we have no worries. I'm going to have worries until after the first hit. Or maybe after the first couple hits when they're going after him, since he's going to be a target, as all number one defensemen are. So it'll be a bit anxiety-ness. That's not the right word. It'll be a bit anxious, I should say, until he takes the first couple hits, feels the action. But as I said, I trust the Stars medical staff. I believe they cleared him, and he should be good to go. And I'm just thrilled that we may see number 4 tonight in the lineup. So a lot of cool adjustments the Stars could make tonight, depending on how they want to go about their business. Let's dive into some of the 5v5 numbers. Dallas is doing a stand-up job at even strength against Winnipeg. And why I believe if they stay out of the box, they can really flip this series on its head. We'll touch on that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Wonderful Pistachios. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. The fact that Wonderful Pistachios is a complete protein providing all 9 essential amino acids is why you need this snack. It's healthy when you're on the go, you're running between meetings, maybe you're dropping off the kids, you're very busy. Wonderful Pistachios are the snack that works for you and as hard as you do. Plus, they have the no shells Wonderful Pistachios for that grab and go ease. Although I love cracking open a pistachios, plopping in your mouth, get the saltiness of the shell as well. And that's why Wonderful Pistachios is the snack for you. Get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. So the 5v5 numbers so far in the first 3 games this series are favoring Dallas in a lot of categories. And I think the Stars have been the better team at 5-on-5 so far in the series. If you look at the goals for, goals against, 6 apiece. So in terms of goals, there's no different. Jets have 6, Stars have 6. But then you go to the expected goals for. Dallas, 7.82. Winnipeg, 4.79. Scoring chances, 83-49 in favor of Dallas. High danger, 34-24 in favor of the Dallas Stars. So Dallas is they're generating more chances at 5-on-5 than Winnipeg. And that's even with Dallas taking some inopportune penalties in this series and loading up the Jets' power play, which was one of the best all NHL season long. Well, their PK has been one of the best all season long in the NHL. and their penalty kill has been absolutely lights out. We've touched on that. And it's fortunate it has been, because this series could be a bit different if Dallas's penalty kill was a bit off and Winnipeg was capitalizing on a lot of their chances. And maybe I'm moaning about the penalties too much because they have survived them, but they cannot continue to load up a good power play. You're just asking to get bit like they did in game, what was it, 1 or 2, whatever it was, when Seguin took the 4-minute high sticking penalty. I think it was game 2, pardon me. And look, I know it was inadvertent, but you can't continue to take those type of penalties because teams will make you pay. And the penalty kill has just been phenomenal. We've touched on it. I think that point has been made and well documented. But again, you look at these 5-on-5 numbers. That's why you should be encouraged that the Stars I think, are the better team so far in the series. Doesn't mean it's going to be a cakewalk, but they are showing an edge. And now I want to get to some of the numbers from some individuals, because yes, I've been a bit harsh on Jamie Benn about how he's hurt his team in the postseason, and I stand by that for the most part. He's taken 10 penalty minutes his last 4 games, and some of that is recency bias. But in this series so far against Winnipeg, he hasn't been that great or that noticeable, in my opinion. And taking 10 penalty minutes is not great. And he has 1 assist in his last 5 games. And I don't think it's been making an impact that he can make. And y'all know I'm a Jamie Benn believer. I feel like I back him more often than not. There are sometimes I have some issues with him, but in the postseason especially, I expect a level from Jamie Benn that is so high that I really usually have no complaints about Jamie Benn, other than maybe production. But when he's on, it's not always him picking up goals and points. Like he's hard on the forecheck. And we saw some of that later in game 3. And I pointed that out. That was much better from Jamie Benn. And if he can continue to do that, stay on the box a bit more, he's going to be an effective player. Plus, it's the context of some of the penalties that really irritate me the most. Some of them are just dumb. I hate to use that adjective, but some of them are just dumb. And he doesn't do that. Stars are going to be fine, and he's going to be a more effective player because Stars are better when he's in the lineup, and he's creating some havoc. He's heavy on the forecheck. He's making an impact physically, an intimidating factor without some of the nonsense. And I also agree some of the penalties are soft. I get that. Well, if they're calling them, you got to stay away from some of that stuff, some of that shenanigans, though. But on a positive note on Jamie Benn, you can look at some of the expected goal stuff. It's really good. It's really, really good. If you look at all situations for the Stars in the postseason, expected goals, Mikko Rantanen 5.5. That leads Dallas. Jamie Benn's right there in second at 4.7. So he's right up there with Mikko Rantanen. Expected goals per 60 minutes. Jamie Benn leads the Stars, 1.99. So he is getting to some of those good areas, and it suggests maybe he's not finding the back of the net as much as he should, because you look at a goals above expected, and Jamie Benn's last at minus 3.7. So he's not being maybe rewarded for some of his work, but he stays out of the box and plays the way we know he can play. He's going to be effective, and he's going to help his team out more. But 10 penalty minutes in your last 4 games, it's not good. I don't care how you want to spin it. It's not helping Dallas, but he's been very good. Even at 5-on-5, those numbers are still very reflective of what he's done among the Stars' best so far in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So that's a great sign. And like I said, he played much, much better at the end of game 3, picked up an assist on the Johnston goal. And if he can score some of those big timely goals like he did in game 3, I believe it was, against Colorado, that power play goal, if he does some of that, look out. Like, that's just another weapon Dallas has. So I hope to see Jamie have a good game tonight, and I believe he will. I think he has a bit of a fire lit underneath him. There's been some talk about him not being very good. And I think he's going to have a really solid game 4 tonight, which is good for all involved. But even some others, I was like Marchment. He's a guy that maybe even deserves a bit more criticism. Was somebody I thought could thrive in a series like this coming in, and we just haven't quite seen it. And some of his issues are penalties too. He has to be criticized for that. If I'm going to get on Jamie Benn a bit, Marchment isn't having the impact I thought he would have in a series like this. They need him to be better, because when he's on, that line of Duchesne and Sagan and him are one of the best in the NHL. And he's one of the better F1s in the entire league. He forechecks hard. He creates turnovers. Not seeing that enough. And he's been in the box a bit too often. So I would like to call out Mason Marchment too. 3 points in 10 games. And he's been in the box a bit too much. Not very much here in this series specifically, but overall it hasn't been great. So I would like to see him step up and have a big game tonight. I think those are the two. I'm going to put the call in to have some big games for the Stars in game 4. And if everybody gets rolling in the same direction, Dallas could very well be up 3-1. And I think if you're the Stars, this is a massive, massive game for you tonight. And hopefully it's not a game 4 like we saw against Colorado in round 1. Going up 3-1 is going to be massive in this series, because you don't want to have to play a best of 3 against Winnipeg with them having home ice. Y'all know I chose Dallas in 6 in this series. I don't feel that comfortable going to Winnipeg and trying to win a game 7, although you could make the case, like I mentioned here, the Stars' 5v5 numbers are fine. Their game will travel, but I'd like to stay out of Manitoba for game 7 if possible. So winning tonight, and then now you just got to win one of the next 3 is a lot easier of a task, but we'll see. And we've seen Dallas lay an egg already, which I sort of have to spot them laying an egg in one game this postseason. Hopefully they do tonight and they take advantage, because a lot of times you see teams after they get that 2-1 series advantage and they kind of flop the next game and the opponents tie the series, which, look, these teams are very close. 2 very good teams. It's competitive. I'm not going to be shocked if it's 2-2 heading into game 5. I think after 4 games, it'd be like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. But man, with Miro back, you want to make his return as special as possible, and a win would certainly do that. So let's talk about some of the more lineup changes, many more notes and nuggets we got from morning skate this morning before we wrap up the Stars versus Jets game 4 preview. We'll do that in just a moment. All righty, Miro Hastenan expected to return tonight in game 4, and we have to give the Stars a lot of credit for getting to this point without Miro Hastenan. They have found a way to win a series against Colorado, and they found a way through 3 games to have a series advantage on Winnipeg. And now you get your best overall player back in the lineup, and now it's time to aim for the moon. I was thinking about this last night too after Carolina won. I think the hockey gods must have the Stars and Canes meet in the Stanley Cup final. I don't want to get ahead of myself a bit, but I've said a lot over the last few years. Every time Dallas and Carolina meets in the regular season, it would be fun to watch these teams in June, and maybe we get that opportunity. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Dallas has to still get rid of Winnipeg before they even get to the Western Conference Final. So the expected lineup tonight, it could be Robo, hence Rantanen, or Granlund, hence Rantanen. I don't think you're going to see them probably mix up that top line. Marchment, Seguin, Duchesne, Ben Johnston, Dodonov, or Ben Johnston, Dodonov. You could steal Dodonov. It'll be rather intriguing to see if they do dress 11 and 7. And then, of course, Hartley, Heiskanen, Lindell, Ceci, Bichel, Petrovic, Lyubushkin. So I guess if a forward had to come out from game 3, it could be Blackwell. But, man, I've loved Blackwell's game. I think they should keep him in there. But, man, it's hard to make the case for anybody else to be healthy scratched. Like, you're not taking Steele out, Dodonov, like, even that's a tough call. So, like, Blackwell would be the odd man out if they do dress 11 forwards, which stinks because I love the way Blackwell comes into each game with a spark and energy, because we see Dallas sometimes get in these lulls where they have nothing, no life, like we saw in game 2 a bit in Winnipeg. And Blackwell just is that spark a bit. But I guess you can maybe bank on the fact that Miro Hastenan can be that spark. He can be that boost for your lineup. So maybe I'm overthinking it a bit. I just don't see a lot of reasons to take anybody out of the lineup for Dallas. I think each player has been effective. Steele, Dodonov has had a great postseason and has scored some big goals for Dallas. I mean, it's just one, but he's had a solid run, and Pete DeBoer trusts him, so I don't see him coming out. So I guess Blackwell is the pretty obvious choice here. So I'm curious to see if they do roll out 11 and 7. If they go with the traditional 12 and 6, you're probably going to see. I would assume Petrovic comes out of the lineup, and you would get Hartley, Lyubushkin, you get Lindell, Miro, and then you would get Bichel, Ceci would be my guess if they dress 12 and 6. So just entertain me here if we have this conversation. Ceci, heavy penalty killer, playing some more minutes than Petrovic, but I don't think they want to take Petrovic out of the lineup, and they probably don't want to mess up the pairing of Petrovic and Bichel. That's been one of your best pairings this postseason. So I don't see them. I really don't see them just dressing 6 defensemen, because they don't want to mess up that trio. Honestly, to make a case, if you had to take anybody in the lineup, maybe it's Lyubushkin. I don't know if they'd even take out Ceci. Again, it's a hard conversation, and I don't know how Alain Nazardine sees it. I know how many Stars fans sees it. Maybe you'd even take out Ceci for that matter, but he's been pretty integral part of the penalty kill. That's been amazing. Like, how could you take that? How could you mess that up after what they've done here? So it's a lot of intriguing scenarios that could occur tonight. And just be sure to stay tuned on the Locked On Stars Twitter for some updates. I'll be retweeting all the lineup changes and what could possibly happen at warmups tonight ahead of Game 4. But that'll wrap up a Stars versus Jets Game 4 preview. Miro Hastenan expected to return tonight. Yes, he is. 7 o'clock puck drop, normal game time, probably be about 7:15 as it usually is. It is on ESPN tonight. Buckle up. Game 4, the possible return of Miro Hastenan. Can Dallas take a 3-1 series lead, or does Winnipeg even the series heading back to Winnipeg for Game 5? Stay tuned tonight. We'll be back later tonight with a reaction episode, and we'll see you then. Hey, hit the subscribe button, by the way. Almost to 4,000 subscribers. Y'all have been incredible this postseason. For those of you that are new, that have just hopped on for the ride, please hit the subscribe button. Hit the like, drop a comment below how you're feeling. Miro could return, and we'll see you later tonight. So long, Stars fans.